Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome to a brand new episode of AI and You Season 2 Smart Tech, Smarter You. I'm Batrisyia Afrina. Alhamdulillah. Thank you very much listeners for tuning in from wherever you are. Either you are tuning in through radio or even through our social media pages, Facebook and also YouTube. And as usual, for this season of AI and You, I'm not hosting alone. I am joined by Dr. Shaikh Saifuddeen bin Sheikh Muhammad Saleh, who is the Director of Research at Research Management Unit at Institute of Islamic Understanding Malaysia, IKIM. Assalamualaikum, Doctor.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
How are you, Doctor?
I'm good, Alhamdulillah. How are you?
Alhamdulillah, I'm also doing good, Dr. MashaAllah. We are back together for the sixth episode, right?
That's
This is
correct.
the sixth episode of AI and You. MashaAllah, time flies so fast. And also for our listeners, this program of AI and You, Smart Tech, Smarter You, is brought to you by the Center for Artificial Intelligence and Robotics, CAIRO, Universiti Teknologi Malaysia, UTM. As a part of this collaboration, we are having this recording today at one of the laboratories at the Field Robotics and Agriculture Lab. And with this season's theme, Smart Tech, Smarter You, we aim to bring you listeners on an insightful journey to better understand about artificial intelligence, its growing role in our daily life, and how can we gain benefit from this advanced technology for the benefit of our society and also for our ummah. And if we go into our today's conversation, today this is a very interesting topic. For years, artificial intelligence has lived through glass on a server, suggestion, or on your smartphone. Usually when we talk about generative AI like Gemini or ChatGPT. But for today's conversation, we would like to bring you but what happens when the intelligence step off into the real world? So in today's episode, we are going to talk about physical AI, when intelligence takes form. And to talk about it, we are joined today by Associate Professor, Engineer Dr. Zool Hilmi bin Ismail from the Center for Artificial Intelligence and Robotics, CAIRO, Universiti Teknologi Malaysia, UTM. You will welcome. Assalamualaikum, Doctor.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you for the session today.
Alhamdulillah, Doctor. Thank you very much for accepting our invitation to be part of this program, Doctor.
Thank you, and also a good opportunity to share with the audience later.
Inshallah, Alhamdulillah. Thank you very much, Batrisyia, for the introduction. And I think Batrisyia mentioned that most people are very much familiar with generative AI. But when it comes to our topic today, physical artificial intelligence or physical AI, I think not many people are aware of it. Or even if they know, they may not be too familiar with it.
Yeah.
So how is physical AI different compared to the usual forms of AI that most people are familiar with?
All right, thank you, Dr. Shen. Basically, for the physical AI, there's no difference between the term robotics. The robots, physical AI, embodiment AI is the term is quite currently the trending nowadays because of the researcher or the people try to bring the AI into the physical world. So meaning that as of using the generative AI is like the prompting. We ask the questions and we wait. In terms of the response, in terms of text, or in terms of image, or in terms of audios, and now they have the video as well. But we're not stopping the researcher or the industry out there is not just waiting for the AI to give the response. So we need something to do the action. So three components in the physical AI, we call the perception, sensing. Sense in terms of text, sense in terms of audios, sense in terms of the camera. So that perception, when we notice in our daily life, we use our eyes, we listen using our ears, we sense using our using the touch, using our hand. So those are perception. The second thing is reasoning. How we reason. Once we touch some things, we need to think what we should do next. Otherwise, we just wait or we have to do the things that we need to do the actions. Like we drive in the car, we saw something, the object at the front. Do we need to avoid to the left based on our what we seen or from object on the front, or we have to turn on the right or we stop. So that the thinking. So the next is the action, PRA, perception, reasoning, and action. So these three components is main of the element on the physical AI. So action is something that we execute on the physical world, interact. Like I mentioned earlier, example on driving the car. We saw objects or the pedestrian or the kids running at the front of a car, then we stop, we press the brake. So that's the action. So 3 components that we execute. Instead of use the human to execute the task, we replace AI. So AI as a physical things that execute the task.
So in terms of looking at it, means that for physical AI, it is something that has a body, something that can do physical work, right?
Yeah.
Compared to generative AI, which involves a lot more to thinking.
Yeah.
Instead, for this one, it's more onto the response, as you mentioned, about the perception towards the surroundings. So perhaps to help our listeners to better understand about it, could you share with us some examples, either robots or machines that use physical AI in our daily lives?
All right. I just want to bring back on the term robotics is not new. It's started in 1920s, coined by the science fiction, but nowadays, since March 2024, NVIDIA, the owner of the NVIDIA, Jensen Huang, coined out the physical AI because they see that we not limit the AI into on the cloud system. We have to bring the AI into the physical, like the edge computing, or into your laptop or computer. So everyone can own the AI, not only our laptop, but also the devices. Meaning that the AI is not limit onto the industry or certain people only. They have to bring into the physical world. So to give the example, like the autonomous car, we put the AI into the autonomous car so that the car know where's the destination and what's the target. And the meantime, they think from the starting point to the end, they have to think how to avoid the traffic jam, something that try to maneuver according to the faster routes, for example. Another example, like the drone delivery. The user order the food. Like in China, they have like can order online at a specific place. We order the food and the drones deliver. But the drone understand how to find the best routes and to get to the destination safely. And at the end of the day, they achieve the goals. So basically, the AI, on top of that, we have set the goals to achieve by the robotics. Same for the in our household, we have the vacuum robotics, and perhaps in near future we have someone robotics can help to lipat baju, for instance. So that's could be helpful for the housewife and people, because we are doing the routine works every day, right? To clean the dishes, to clean up the floor, to the tables, to clean up the toys, everything that we handles is basically can be done by the robot as long as they can understand our nature and they have enough data to replicate what our routine works. So that's a lot for us. Example nowadays from on the roads, on the air using the drones, as well as at the house using the vacuum robotics. They know if they're stuck at a certain area, they have to think how to exit. And in fact, if you go to the bistro, like the restaurant mama, they have like robotics when they deliver the food to us. Right, we sitting on the table, we scan the food that we wanted, and at the end of the day, we just get what we want. So we don't think how the robot arrived. We just think the food arrived to our table only.
Yes. MashaAllah, that's very interesting to hear, to know that even nowadays, even if we see that with the current state of AI, artificial intelligence, we already can see a lot of technology that use this as in cars, and as you mentioned, one of the example, even at Mama shop,
yeah.
you can see a robot waitress sending you food, sending you drinks, MashaAllah, and it is something that I still remember. If I were to recall back when I was a child, there is something that we learn at school when our teacher talk about the futuristic future that we are going to live in. We imagine that we are going to live in a future where it is fully automated, where human doesn't have to do anything. Everything can be done by robots, and they can constantly feed us. MashaAllah, it's one of the a movie. In fact, they have some movies inspired by that idea, and seems like we are getting closer to it.
I'm actually worried. The reason is because when you mentioned the word movie and robots, it reminds me of the movie, the animated movie Wall-E. when everything is given to the robots, humans just sit down.
Sit
and at the
down.
end of the
They
day,
become lazy.
they become lazy and unhealthy. Anyway, Doctor, thank you for enlightening us on what physical AI is, and also for highlighting that the term robots have been around for quite a while.
Yeah.
And usually when people speak about robots, people think about humanoid robots.
Yeah.
You've given some examples: autonomous vehicles,
Yeah.
robot vacuums, and I think humanoid robots can also fall under the category of physical AI.
Yeah.
So since we have all these now, why are they the main focus today compared to before?
Yeah, very true indeed. I mentioned earlier, the term robotic is that in place already, and then people use in this Star Wars, science fiction, things like that. But they inspired to move as far as possible. But now the trend, because the technology is moving very fast, not only on the computing power, but also communications. We use like media social like the TikTok, so informations running very fast. So the data that came in, stored in the server or data computer that can train the AI, increase the power or the what we call the knowledge of AI itself. So when they understand the knowledge, then we can understand how we interact with the environment. That improve the capacity of the. And on top of that, the humanoid robot that currently being used, like the Unity, Boston Dynamic, by the Tesla, Optimus. There's those of information or the robotics being developed by the big industry that inspired to, I can say not replace, but assist the human. Because the term robota represent the force labor. So it's help the human to do the routine work at the factory or the manufacturing area so that people can focus on the other things. So those are the skilled workers that need the robotics into of the helping them in their routine hours in the manufacturing as well as what we call probably in our daily life one day.
What about say in surgery? Because we know that we have robotic robots to help with surgery. Would they fall under this category as well?
At this moment for surgery, they mainly focus on the teleoperated.
Okay.
Teleoperated, they normally the very skillful people like the doctors or the expert who do the operations, they probably from somewhere else. They operate like from the India, control the robot
in other words,
Singapore.
remote surgery.
Yeah,
Okay.
doing the surgery. But the physical is totally understand by the robot. They can think, they can learn, and they can improve the knowledge time by time. So that's just internally. So if the encounter, I just quote like the word reinforcement learnings, like our brain. If the robot do the mistake, it's either they redo the mistake or being penalized, or for the next time they don't execute it, then do something else. So they don't. Hopefully they get the reward. So this we call the reinforcement learning, the scientific term, so that the robot can improve the skill time by time. So like we learn at the school, go to classes, we learn Arabic or subjects. Every day we teach our kids or ourselves to learn. So if you do mistake, we get the marks right. So if got 100 marks, we got rewards. So if lesser, it's either penalized by the teachers or our parents at home.
So it means that the physical AI has to go through a simulation where they need to be trained so that they better improve themselves.
Yeah, but nowadays, previously since 90s or 2000s, people do simulation because we have very expensive equipment, probably very limited. So we have to simulate. But nowadays, people focus on the offline learning.
Okay.
Meaning that anytime we do actions that wrongs, we think and we improve our knowledge. So that's the scale of what we call the AI to instantly recognize what is good, what is bad. So the learning process is offline. So
I see. MashaAllah. It does help us to better understand about the concept of physical AI. And I'm sure that it is different from our traditional understanding of robotics, as here it involves a lot of self-learning and
Yeah.
help to better to improve themselves. MashaAllah, we have a lot more to discuss. We go for a short break first. After this, we would like to know about the main risk. I think in any of new technology being introduced to the public, and imagine that physical AI is being used with involving interaction with human. Of course, it has its own risk. But we go for a short break first. And to our listeners, stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to AI and You Smart Tech Smarter You. I'm Batrisyia Afrina, and you're still with us for today's conversation: physical AI when intelligence takes form. So, still joining us in our conversation for today, Associate Professor Engineer Dr. Zool Hilmi bin Ismail from Center for Artificial Intelligence and Robotics, CAIRO, Universiti Teknologi Malaysia, UTM. So, before we went for a break just now, Dr. Zool shared with us about what is physical AI, and he also shared with us some examples, either robots or machines, on its usage in our daily life. So, to bring our conversation forward as in terms of safety, what are the main risks when AI can move and also interact physically with humans?
Right. In terms of the risk, basically there's a lot of risk regarding the AI itself. And in fact, without AI, we're also at risk because we use the social media, our data, everything is stored on the cloud. So there's a risk of the cybersecurity. So in terms of that, what we call the information that we pass into the robotics must be, secure. We call the kedaulatan data. So everything must be stored probably locally, and in fact, this should be trained according to what our scope or the context. So those are very important for the robotics to understand. Otherwise, we ask something else, they do something else. So we try to avoid that because of the cybersecurity or the knowledge they pass. And in fact, the robot have the camera. So every time they capture the image, so the image is probably privacy for us. So that's included into the knowledge of AI to be protected in. So on top of that, who's going to be responsible? Let's say the robot do something else, but it's not according to our needs, or do something that might dangerous to our kids. So those are the risks might be we encounter when we deploy the robot at home, and it's happened to me is for instance on the drones, when they fly the drones, somehow the drones lost the connection.
Yeah.
Because the interference or the surroundings might cause the drones lost the communication and also the control. So drones might crash somewhere else. So that might be the risk when happen to the people surroundings. I mean, the robot, could be freely fly, but of course we need to be secure in terms of cybersecurity and also the responsibility of the physical AI itself. So people have to be responsible, not the robot. So the robot is just physical. We don't bring the robot to the court. So that's how it should be bear in mind. The robot has to be someone behind it.
Behind, so means that there should be human still being in the loop.
Yeah.
And briefly, Doctor, talking about it, that's usually when we talk about the humanoid robots, right? There's this concern of whether the robots or the physical AI will be self-aware. So what's the possibility of it to happen?
All right. Basically, like the humanoid robot, I give two components. Like robotics, they have reactive, and another one proactive. So reactive one is just wait human to give the command. So the robot will do the actions and execute according to our command. Another one is proactive. Like say for instance in the morning, before we woke up, the robot already bring the breakfast to us. So the robot know what to do before we get out the bed or something so they can do the proactive one. That's we bring the robot like physical robots, the heartbeats. So the robot can listen and also continuously do the action before they receive the command from or the guided from the human. So the second one is kind of a bit dangerous. Yes, because it might be out of control because of the things could be because they can learn,
Yes.
and also they can do the things that outside of the scope of the humans. So nowadays people, in fact, many of the models they provide they call the guardrail. So the model can do many things, but of course the guardrail is something that we use to check with the GPT or Gemini when we ask something that could be
Controversial.
controversial,
Or dangerous.
dangerous, or something related to the things that not related to daily life. Probably they try to avoid. So the guardrail should be applied for the robot, physical robot as well. Otherwise, they can do many things. They can turn on themselves. They can
There's a
learn.
possibility of that to happen.
But still, the human have to control the model, the AI, so that the AI can stop before they do.
Right, very interesting. And very,
Scary.
yeah, in a way.
Think about it.
Anyway, Doctor, you mentioned about guardrails. I think one of the guardrails that we, in the context of our lives in Malaysia, will be from the Islamic and ethical perspective.
Yeah.
So, from the perspective of Islam and also ethics, what are the issues that we need to consider when physical machines become more intelligent and autonomous? I think this is basically picking up from what Batrisyia asked just now.
All right. In terms of context of our land, because Malaysian is most of the population is Muslims, and also how we adopt in terms of the robotics. In fact, we cannot stop. The innovations of robotics is probably one day part of the life. In fact, before we talking about humanoid, I can say that people already use the AI, but not up to the physical world. Some of them probably use, like using myself, I use to use the printer. I use printer instead of I open up my desktop, I just command from my WhatsApp, Telegram, I send the command to the printer to do printing of the PDF. So meaning that in terms of limitations, we have to have the clear boundary in terms of the implementation of the physical AI. But of course, we have to see the boundary of the benefit and also, in terms of the backside of the physical AI. So we have to balance as a human and also as a Muslim, we have to balance between the pro and con in terms of that. But as well as we try to keep up in terms of the knowledge, how we, one day, probably outside world or the people in the Europe or somewhere in China, create a very powerful, but we have to narrow down into the Islamic context or probably the prospect of the AI in Malaysia context only. We cannot bring the total model and deploy straight away in Malaysia. We have to scope down, make sure that it's really follow our nilai and also guideline of Malaysia.
Right. This just crossed my mind.
Yeah.
We're talking about robotics. We're talking about physical AI. I'm from the Gen X generation, and I think, Doctor, you're from Gen Y.
Yeah.
And Batrisyia,
Gen Z.
Gen Z. So we have three different generations today. I think in terms of acceptance and readiness to use physical AI, as someone coming from the Gen X group or cohort, I think my generation will have some difficulties to adjust compared to Gen Z who are digital natives. So, in your opinion, in terms of adoption of this technology in our country, how ready are we?
Okay. The first keyword, we cannot be a robot. We can't be a robot because at this moment, we utilize our apps. We go into the system like the desktop, open up the system like I mentioned, the printer just now. To print our document PDF, we have to open the document, go to the files, select the printer and print. But that is the past. Nowadays, it should be very shortcut way. Anyone can use. AI should be very, very helpful. We just instruct. Let's say, for instance, I want to print the document. I just send one document, print satu copy. That's it. AI should know where to print, how many documents to print, which printer they use, and which color, black, it should be very easy for everyone. That's why we call the democratized. AI is not bring the human to become the robot. We still become a human, and yeah, we emulate and instruct the AI to understand our goals. Like I mentioned, our goals is to print the document or the file. They do the rest. Same for the execution, like to open up like the smart house. I just instruct, is anyone foreigner or outsiders come to the house, give the alert. So we don't need to program, we don't need to understand the details in terms of the networking, hard-coded. AI should understand the Bluetooth communication, Wi-Fi, the available camera inside, and also how to trigger and notify the users. So it should be done all by AI systems. So it should be very helpful to everyone. And in fact, yeah.
So in your opinion, it should not be much difficulty for people like me to adopt AI and also physical AI.
Yeah, yeah. But because in fact the physical AI, AI is understand by nature. Let's say the robots without one limb, probably they know it just can execute with a single limb. Robot with the wheels, how fast they can move. The robot should understand with the certain speed I can move here. It's not possible I travel to Johor with the wheels, certain bipedal, something like that. So those information already trained by AI to understand by nature. We just give instruction, can you go to Johor using this capacity? So before 5 o'clock. So they by nature they understand itself.
And talking about briefly, Doctor, before we go to the final part of this conversation, talking about the AI adaptation, especially for the public, and I think a part of the aim of this program is to teach and encourage our listeners to better understand about artificial intelligence. And again, going back into the physical AI, as we finally understood that physical AI involves a lot on this technology being used surrounding us, and it has interaction with human. Talking about that, there are reports out there. So one of the example of physical AI is autonomous vehicles. There are a lot of reports where crashes caused by the AI itself. So for the public, how should we feel, even for me myself, how should I be comfortable, or how should I rely on physical AI when it talks about safety?
All right. Before I move to the safety, I probably should address in terms of the robotics. We cannot really the robot to understand and also can learn by themselves. We need to nurture our younger generations, our kids, on the STEM programs, or because AI models is very broad. And we can pick different models and robot can execute, but it's probably out of our scope of our context. So using the stems or the knowledge for the case or something like that can correlate and find the best models that might suitable and follow according to our direction. That's why in terms of the safety, the concern is probably in terms of the limitation of the sensor. Because perception earlier, because some of the crashes happen because the sensor confuse pedestrian or the shadow. So it could be happen. So those are still improved by the models when this, as a researcher, more crash, more better. We want to understand how AI is good handling the situation, the worst case or the critical mission, like moving the high-speed car in the highway. So we want the crashes. So when they crash, they'll start to learn. AI can learn. So so those are might happen at during the actual scenario, but those information can fit into we call the feedback system, and ourselves we also learn. When we do mistake, we learn. So we try to avoid. So those are things that, of course, they might cause the certain kind of scenario, injuries or something like that, but those are the knowledge for the AI to learn.
And as we are reaching the end of this conversation, how can Malaysia in general and UTM itself in particular can take part in the field of physical AI, either from the perspective of research or industry?
All right. I go to public first. Public should aware that physical AI robotics is one day could be part of our daily life, because in China it's very aggressive. to adopt of the physical AI because they see that they already compete enough with the US in terms of the creating the model using the generative AI. So they move. Why not we move into the physical AI? So and on top of that, they also encourage the people to share the data when do household things or activities. They collect the information and they want to train the data. So that's probably in terms of researcher. Like myself, I joined the competition robotics and also the competition researcher. They want to see how the robot can play the soccer.
Wow, it's very interesting.
So yeah, like now we in the World Cup. So the trend also apply for the robotics. So they want to see which country won the robotic.
Are we going to see a robotic World Cup soon?
Yeah, probably. Yes, because people already do the marathon. Robotics, they compete human and also robot.
And robots.
Robot.
Wow.
Robot can finish the marathon faster, of course. But there's some technical information. I mean, things in terms of the power supply, battery, and also the compute power, sensor things. But that information very good for the AI to understand how to improve it, how to use the less power and move fast and reach, and towards the end reach the goals. On top of that, they use for the drones. They compete human racing drone with human. So far, the robot win. And but just to motivate people, motivate based on human inspiration, right? When people can do, of course, the robot can also can do.
I remember many years ago when I was growing up, people talk about chess players competing with
Kasparov.
Kasparov.
Yeah.
I think that was a very famous
Yes.
case.
Yeah.
So that was, I think, in the 90s.
1995.
1985. Yeah. That was 30 years ago.
Yeah. They started off the things that robot compete human. So it's, as long as the robot had a brain, they can do many things to compete with the human.
Doctor, briefly before we end it, is it possible for us to see in the future where AI or robots take over human as victims? Of course, we human, we are weak, we have our own limitations, but for AI, they can constantly improving themselves.
Yeah, I think this is at the national level. We have should have the national policy because the researcher, like the social media lah. I don't want to bring it into robotics. Social media can do many things, but we scope down underage or something like less than 16. We limit them because social media can be addicted. Same for the robotics. Should have the clear policy so that in the future we know the boundaries between the human and also the robot.
MashaAllah, we have learned a lot into this conversation. Even for me personally, I learned a lot. I never knew of how advanced physical AI has become with the current state of technology, MashaAllah. So as we have seen today, physical AI isn't just about the giving code a shiny metal as it just giving it a body, but it's about bridging the digital mind with our physical reality. MashaAllah, we really appreciate your sharing, Doctor, for our today's conversation, physical AI when intelligence takes form. And with that being said, thank you very much, Prof, for your sharing on today's conversation.
Thank you very much.
Assalamualaikum.
Assalamu warahmatullah.
And to our listeners, thank you also for tuning to us today. MashaAllah, we have learned a lot in this conversation. AI and You Season 2, Smart Tech, Smart to You is brought to you by the Center for Artificial Intelligence and Robotics, CAIRO, Universiti Teknologi Malaysia, UTM. I'm Batrisyia Afrina.
And I'm Shaikh Muhammad Saifuddeen bin Shaikh Muhammad Saleh.
Wabillahi taufiq wa hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Assalamu